China does have also an advantage, which is they can adjust the structure of their economy very fast.
Welcome to an amazing start to 2024. Happy New Year, everyone. After a festive fortnight filled with sumptuous feasts, family reunions and reflective year-end musings, we're thrilled to kick off the new year with a podcast episode that's nothing short of captivating. In today's Global Rendezvous, we are venturing beyond the familiar terrains of Germany, China and the USA to the charming shores of Portugal, a first in our podcast's history. Joining us is the esteemed Bernardo Mendia, Secretary General of the Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry and the President of the Board of Directors at PHKCCI. Bernardo's role takes him all around the world. He'll share insights into his multifaceted responsibilities and the pivotal economic sectors bridging Portugal and China. So let's dive right in without further ado. Prepare to be enthralled in our conversation with Bernardo, an episode guaranteed to be as informative as it is entertaining. Enjoy the journey.
Made in China. Von der Werkbank der Welt zum größten Konsumentenmarkt und Technologieführer. Eine Reise durch das Leben, Business und die Kultur im Reich der Mitte mit Damian Maib und Thomas Derksen.
So we are very happy to have the first Portuguese guest on our podcast here. It's Bernardo Mendia, and he has a lot to tell, a lot to say about China, about Portugal, and I'm very, very looking forward to a unique experience, to your unique experiences and in a unique point of view to the Europe-China connections. And yeah, you said before our podcast is in German, so you didn't listen to a lot of episodes. And I can tell you in the beginning, we also have a little game. So I will ask you some very quick questions, A or B, and then you tell us, what your answer is. So the first question would be French or Spanish?
Spanish.
Hong Kong or Macau?
Hong Kong.
Cook yourself or order food?
Order food.
Okay, the next one is a little bit tricky for me. I don't know if I say it right, but you can listen if you can understand what I say. Bacalhau or Beijing duck?
Beijing duck.
So bacalhau is like a Portuguese dish, right?
Yes, it is. Unfortunately, I don't like it.
Okay, so then Beijing duck it is.
It's the most... Yeah, exactly. It's the most traditional Portuguese food is bacalhau.
Okay, what is it made of?
Is codfish.
Ah, codfish. Okay.
Codfish.
Good. I have to try it someday. So, watching or doing sports?
Doing.
Soccer or basketball?
Soccer.
Mercedes or BMW?
BMW.
Instagram or Facebook?
None. I don't have any social media. I'm sorry.
Okay, good. Artificial intelligence or human intelligence?
Human intelligence.
Offline sales or online retail?
Offline sales.
Okay, so you're quite on the traditional side, right? No social media and offline sales. But you're quite still young. So for the viewers who can't see you, I can tell them you look very energetic and very young. So welcome again to our podcast.
Thank you very much, Thomas and Damian. And you got me right. I'm very conservative, but I'm very much aware of all the potential. And also when I talk to the Portuguese companies, we definitely recommend online sales. We know all the potential of it. It's not only potential, and also artificial intelligence, including generative artificial intelligence. I'm very much interested, but I also recognize that we're very, very far away of understanding it. So I should be conservative, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's good to hear. So, and in the small talk before we started our main talk here, we already were talking about soccer or football, how some people call it. And this is one thing that connects Germany and Portugal and also China. In the teams in Portugal and Germany are quite good, or Germany was very good for the last decades. And for us Germans, it's very easy to explain our business model to the world, because we are still a business podcast. So we want to talk about a little bit. We do cars, we do engineering, and we do beer and also soccer. But and all of these are very famous all over the world. So what about Portugal? How would you describe the Portuguese economy to the world?
Very well. Unfortunately, our economy is very much dependent on EU funding. But having said that, of course, we also have our own industries. We are a strong economy in textiles. We have a product that very much identifies the Portuguese economy, which is cork. The cork stoppers for the wine. So we produce over 50% of all the cork in the world, and we export over 70% because we also transform part of the natural cork in Portugal that comes from Spain. And so we export over 70%. China, of course, is an important market for Portugal as well. And then we also have a developed auto industry. Of course, auto in the sense of parts of auto industry. And the very little Portuguese investment in China is actually related to the auto industry, which were European automakers that were producing before in Portugal. And when they moved to China, the Portuguese auto part companies moved also to China and opened their own factories. So they're mostly textile associated in the auto industry. And so that's, I can give you an interesting number also to compare the Portuguese investment in the total Portuguese stock of Portuguese investment in China is 52 million euros, which if you compare to the European or even to the German one, you can see it is very, very little. And on the other end, also if you compare with the Chinese investment in Portugal, which is over 10 billion USD. So we have a very significant stock of Chinese investment in Portugal. You can see the difference. That's related also to the scale of the Portuguese economy, to the scale of the Portuguese businesses, which are mainly small and medium enterprises. They're mainly looking to export to China and not so much to build factories because it's the size of the company. So we do not have Mercedes or BMW or BASF. We don't have these big German companies that really have significant investments in China, which, in my opinion, they do very well to tap that market. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, that's right. But very interesting to hear that cork. I heard about it before. Yeah, as you said, like I was in contact with some of your Portuguese fellows, and he also told me about cork. And now, as you said it, I remember it. Very interesting. So, can you give us an overview about the current state of the Portuguese economy? Because when I go to China, people are complaining economy is bad. In Germany, people are complaining. How is it in Portugal? And also, Portugal is part of the EU. So, what is your view on the current state of the Portuguese and the EU economy right now?
The fact that we are part of the EU is a huge advantage for the Portuguese companies and also the Portuguese community in general. Not only when we export, because it kind of gives us a stamp of quality being part of the European Union, but also the way we are perceived in China. which also it is very positive. If you enter Portugal, if a Chinese company enters Portugal, it's entering the huge European Union market. To give you an idea of the exports between Portugal and China, the total is about 10 billion USD from, so total, between what we import and export. Still, the balance is negative. So we have a deficit compared to what China exports. But on the investment side, we have a huge superavit because China is investing a lot in the past 10 years. 10, 12 years, it has invested a lot in Portugal. What happened was, you may remember, after the financial crisis in 2008, Portugal went through a very rough period. The country almost bankrupted. But fortunately, the European Commission, the International Monetary Fund, and the Central Bank got together and lined up a plan for Portugal to recover in exchange for a 78 billion. They've lent us 78 billion. We were very fortunate because we've had a government that was able to follow the plan, and the economy recovered fantastically. And but at the time, before we knew if the economy was going to recover, we had to privatize companies. We had to increase taxes, to downgrade salaries. So it was a very tough period during 2-3 years where we didn't know what was going to happen. Fortunately, as I said before, it was very successful. But at this time where we didn't know, and when we were privatizing, that's when we had most of the Chinese investment in Portugal. Of course, these were public, these were public concursos. Oh, God. Anyway, the companies that were for sale, it was public sales. So we had German, we had British, Spanish, Chinese. But fortunately for us, at the time, China was with the policy of go global. So they were expanding. The central authorities were incentivizing their companies to invest overseas. We were huge. So they invested a lot during this time. And now we have a very good Chinese investment, very good quality Chinese investment. The Portuguese companies that were invested, they have never paid as much taxes as they're paying now. They kept hiring new local Portuguese. They didn't change the management of the Portuguese companies. And these Portuguese companies are now multinational. Most of them are now multinational companies because they had, from that date on, they have access to financing from Chinese banks. And that allowed them to go to Africa, go to South America, even go to Asia. And now we have very healthy companies contributing to the Portuguese economy.
Sounds great. Sounds like a very healthy recovery.
Yes, it was very healthy and very fortunate. As to the picture of the Portuguese economy nowadays, the potential is all there. You know, we have, just like you in Germany, we have a very qualified workforce. What the big difference might be that, in Portugal, the salaries are still quite low, which makes, just like, in Eastern Europe. And then we have a workforce that, dominates English, which also helps a lot when foreign companies are looking to make investments overseas. So I would say that we will keep being attractive. This is the attractiveness of Portugal is of any country, I would say, is a ongoing work. You know, they need to keep working in order to compete with other countries. You know, Spain, and then all the Eastern Europe. But the potential is there, and we just need to keep promoting and welcoming foreign investment. One of our advantages has been also the political stability of the country, and also the fact that we are in fact very welcoming. The people is very welcomes foreign, is very multicultural.
Yeah, and also the weather and the food is great in Portugal. This is also a point.
Yes, of course. I thought about it. I didn't mention.
Yeah, but
that's true.
Very, very important also for Chinese and also for us Germans. It's very cold here in Germany. So what is your view on the Chinese economy these days? Also a lot of challenges and a lot of recovery that has to be done after COVID.
Definitely. You're totally right. So China is going also through a rough period. But China does have also an advantage, which is, they can adjust the structure of their economy very fast, which is due to the speed with which they can implement new policies does not have a parallel in Europe. Whatever we do here, we need to meet a lot of sides and parties in order to implement a structural adjustment to our economy. In China, it's incredible how in 6 months, as little as 6 months, everything can change. And that's their biggest advantage. Also, they're very flexible, so they do adjust. And we have been seeing that since January this year, they have been implementing different measures at a monthly basis in order to attract more foreign investment into the country, and also to make their own economy more dynamic from a point of view of the domestic market. I think it's inevitable that they will be successful. The market is there. The people keep working as hard as before. I have been in China 7 times this month, and 7 times this year since January. And I can't stop being impressed with the hard work, with those adjustments to the economy that they keep doing. This year, for example, we have received here in Portugal over 40 Chinese governmental delegations. When I say governmental, it means provincial level, a city level, district level. So over 40, and they all come with the same message. They have nothing specific, very specific, but they all come with this general message saying, we are open, please come, we will help you to set up a business, so I'm sure it's happening all over Europe. But I can testify that in Portugal, this has been happening a lot.
Good to hear. So, and you are the Secretary General of the Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Can you tell us a little bit about your career journey? How did you come to this position?
Yes, of course. As you said, I am the Secretary General of the Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I am also the President of the Portugal-Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce and Industry. My first trip to China was in 2017. I went to Shanghai. 2007. I went to Shanghai. And then I came down all the way to Hong Kong, a 24 hours train trip. It's impressive because in 2007, it's still, you didn't have the fast train. So in 2007, it's quite impressive. From Shanghai to Hong Kong, you still need to sleep in the train. But I wanted to see the country. It was foggy the whole time. I didn't see anything. But anyway, I tried my best. And then I lived in Hong Kong for 2 years. I was working in I opened the office of a Portuguese logistics company, a forwarder. And I lived there for 2 years. I met my wife there, and since then, we have been very much, I have been very much connected to China, and all my life has been around doing business with China. I subsequently lived in Hong Kong from 2013 to 2017. But at that time already with my own business. And in 2019, I founded the Portugal-Hong Kong Chamber of Commerce and Industry together with a group of people connected, which we still hold. And then in 2021, the president of the Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce and Industry contacted me, and then that's how I became the Secretary General of Portugal-China Chamber of Commerce in Hong Kong, the Chamber of Commerce and Industry of Portugal-China. Yeah, that's the whole story. This chamber this chamber was founded in 1978. It's very much connected to the history of the bilateral relationship between Portugal and China. It was actually an instrument, a tool for Portugal in 1979 to re-establish the connection between Portugal and China. So in 2024, we will celebrate the 45th year of the bilateral relationship. As you know, we also have in Macau, we have a delegation of the chamber. As you know, Portugal has a connection with China for centuries through Macau. What happened? And so you might have thought, between when you asked me about Hong Kong and Macau, you might have thought, it's choose Hong Kong, although it's Portuguese. But yeah, in fact, it's because of the story I just told you. My connection was always through Hong Kong because that's where I worked, where I met my wife. And so, I have a huge relation with Hong Kong, which I keep to this day. And I plan to maintain. I like to take my kids to Hong Kong. They love Hong Kong too. But of course, we prefer to live in Portugal as a base and just travel there for holidays with the kids.
And this is also a reason why the Danta in Hong Kong and Macau are so famous. You know, the egg tarts. It also comes from Portugal, if I'm right?
Yes, you are totally right. It comes from Portugal, and Macau makes a big effort to make it as good as a egg tart as the Portuguese, but they haven't succeeded so far. So you really need to come to Portugal to have the real authentic one.
Yeah, interesting to hear.
Just one more appointment regarding Macau. The Portuguese sailors arrived to actually Hong Kong and not Macau in 1513. So this year we celebrate the 510th year of the arrival to China. But only in 1547 did the Chinese authorities said, please settle in here, which was Macau. And that's, since then we have stayed there, and until 1999, we have administered the territory of Macau. In 1999, the territory was returned to the administration of the Chinese authorities, and it has been so since then. So next year it will be the celebration of the 25th year of the handover, and that's it. That's the story. Just one more thing. We still have a lot of Portuguese companies in Macau, of course, including banks. All the Portuguese banks are there. One of the banks is still issues 50% of all the patacas in the market. Pataca is the local currency in Macau. It's a bank named BNU, which means Banco Nacional Ultramarino. It has over 120 years in the Macau market, and this bank is owned. The single shareholder is the Portuguese state-owned bank, CGD. And then we have the lawyers, we have accountants, architects, we have all kind of activities done by the Portuguese community, which is a very important community and very appreciated. So if you talk about Macau in Portugal, people will have a good feeling about Macau because we have a lot of people connected to Macau or family living in Macau. So it's a very good connection and relationship.
It's a shame for me to confess that I, as a German living in China for so many years, I haven't been to Portugal and I haven't been to Macau yet. But when I listen to you talking, I think I definitely have to change it in 2024. This will be on my to-do list for 2024. And from the last 25 minutes, I heard you talking a lot about the EU-China relations, and I got the feeling that you're a very optimistic person, that you see that times are changing, but not as many people as we are quite optimistic, because the world economy, the world politics are quite shaky. So what do you think? What are the challenges and opportunities for the next couple of years for multilateral trade between EU and China?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we have this containment of China, which in my opinion is of course wrong. We should not be containing. But on the other end, we have to look at the facts. And so between Europe and China, we are each side the second biggest trading partner. So this is a fact. We cannot change it. We have 2.3 billion exchanges daily. So it's a total of 847 billion per year of trade exchanges. This is a fact, and this is so important for both economies, with effects to the rest of the world. So the more we trade, the more relationship we have, the better for all of us. So what I sincerely hope is that, in my opinion, is that there's more understanding between the two sides. There is more diplomacy. There is more meetings face to face. This I think it was the worst outcome of the COVID. Was the fact that people didn't meet and didn't talk directly. So this has generated a lot of misunderstandings, and we need to go back to that, understand that every people has the right to work and to get out of a poor or a poorer situation, economic situation, and to achieve more and to provide more to their children. And basically that's what all want, and all families want. Doesn't matter if it's in Europe or if it is in China. So we need to be more, we need to understand better, talk more, do more person-to-person interchanges. Being cultural or sports, I think it's very good. Students, very important also. So I sincerely hope that we can go that way. It seems we are going that way. The visit of the Chinese authorities and President Xi Jinping to the US was very positive. Maybe not so positive for us in Europe, because if they understand between themselves very well, then they will look at US more, because it's a bigger market for the Chinese. But in general, general, it will communicate a very good environment for the rest of the world. And we know, because we follow a lot, we in Europe, we follow a lot what the US do. So in that sense, if US and China are having a good relationship, we will just automatically also have a good relationship. Doesn't say much about us, but it doesn't matter. It's what it is. And so now this is the situation. I think we in Europe should fight for our own interests to become more competitive, and also to benefit from all the Chinese development. I mean, technological development in the EV, in the artificial intelligence, in the renewable energy, in the not only in EV but also the other normal cars. So this is something we should fight for. The Chinese, of course, are very much interested in our domestic market, in the European Union market. So we have some big companies, not Portugal, but Germany, France, Italy. We have huge big companies that have the capacity, the liquidity, the financial strength to invest in Chinese companies. These Chinese companies that are more technologically advanced, they should be invested by European countries in exchange for the opening of our markets. So this is what I believe it is very important nowadays, is that we are smart enough to negotiate and to open our markets in exchange for entering the capital of the Chinese companies that are more developed. And this interconnection between our two territories will benefit everyone, because it will mean more development. And we know that development and technological advancement always creates wealth. It's the history of the world, and it will continue to be so. So we should definitely do this opening up together and not separately. That will only bring the opposite of growth.
Yeah, you're so right. And I hope a lot of political leaders and decision makers will listen to this podcast and to your words. So you have a lot of experience, right? You opened your own company in China. Then you opened other institutions. If you have Portuguese or European companies coming to you, is there any advice you would give them? If you go to China, you definitely have to do 1, 2, 3.
Well, first, let me tell you that most Portuguese companies, which are the companies that I deal with, are small companies. They just want to sell in China. So they don't really do the big investments in China like German companies. But what we tell them to start with is that it is very important to go to China, to visit, to meet people personally, to have lunch, have dinner, to establish a relationship with them. And then they should also understand that visit one time will not, only if they're very lucky, of course, but in principle, it will not bring them huge benefits if they just go one time. So they should have a long-term strategy where the companies are visiting the market frequently. Nowadays, we know that we have also the e-commerce, which also, if you are a producer of goods, if you are a manufacturer of some consumer good, then nowadays it's easier to reach the market. But number one, visit the market several times. Number two, study the market and understand where the main trade exhibitions are taking place and try to visit those exhibitions. And when you do that, then you try to meet many importers, as it is the case for the Portuguese companies, business partners, even government officials, because government officials can introduce you to other companies. And this type of service we are able at the Chamber of Commerce to provide to the companies. This is what we do. Now, regarding the opening of the company, we do help companies to establish their own companies in China if they wish to do so. But I just helped to open a company that was not my company. It was the company of another, is a Portuguese big company, but we did open in Hong Kong, just to clarify.
Yeah. I mean, but you were very involved in the process. That's right. And also, like,
yes,
e-commerce, as you said, is very important. Damien will be very happy to hear it, because his company is just doing this. So if you have any good Portuguese goods, you're very happy to bring them to China. And I'm sure Damien will help you with that, because I know also in Germany, I'm frequently getting a lot of fresh produce from Portugal. Like fruits are very popular here in Germany. Also salt from Portugal, we also get it. Olive oil, also very nice, right? All very nice products from Portugal.
And wine too.
And wine. Yeah, you're right. So for the last question, in China, 5-year plans are very popular. I'm sure you're also familiar with that. Can you share us your plans with us and our listeners? So what are your private and professional 5-year plans in the end of 2023 now?
Well, it's a good question. I haven't thought about it, but let me see. We will definitely continue to promote the relationship between Portugal and China. We will do it through visiting China with business delegations. This year in 2023, we did visit with a group of 32 businessmen from the textile sector. So we visited several cities in China. We hope China and Hong Kong. We ended this trip in Hong Kong, and it was more than 2 weeks. It was a long and very good trip. We hope we can repeat this kind of trip every year in the next 5 years. Then we will of course keep on receiving the delegations from China here in Portugal. As I told you, we have received over 40. We expect the number of delegations to decrease because this was the year of the opening up. So that it's very natural. I actually, before 2020, of course, this number we didn't receive. And this is also related to the number of delegations. I believe it is also related to the fact that that the US was being very effusive in the containment. So that made them feel not so welcome in the US. And that has changed with the visit of Xi Jinping. So definitely a lot of delegations that were considering visiting Europe will now turn to the bigger market, according to their view, which is the US. As if they are welcome to the US, they will definitely also consider visiting US and not Europe. We promote a lot of events to let the Portuguese businessmen understand China better. For example, the day after tomorrow, we will do a webinar on intellectual property rights with the USME. Every year we also do a gala where we nominate. We have a jury for nominating the winners of each year, either Chinese investment year or Portuguese succeeding in China. And so these type of events, then of course celebrate the Chinese New Year. We have a number of events to keep the community together. Also, let the Portuguese businessmen know the Chinese community in Portugal. So we do it on both sides. So we will continue in the coming 5 years. We will continue promoting the business relation between Portugal and China.
Great. Thank you so much for your efforts and for your insight, Bernardo. It was a very great talk for me. I learned a lot, and I hope that the relations between Europe and China will get better in the future. Also, thank you due to your efforts. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Thomas. It was very nice to meet you.
News of the week. This week, we delve into a story that has captivated our thoughts for quite some time. One that exemplifies the remarkable journey from adversity to triumph. Business Insider sheds light on a tale of resilience and visionary entrepreneurship in their feature How BYD founder Wang Chuanfu rose from orphan to billion-dollar e-car mogul. Wang Chuanfu's journey is nothing short of extraordinary and inspiring. Orphaned at a tender age, he navigated his early life in one of China's most impoverished regions. Despite these daunting beginnings, Wang's life took a transformative turn when he received a scholarship that not only paved the way for a master's degree in battery technology, but also positioned him as a government researcher. This critical development led to the birth of BYD. Today, many recognize BYD as a beacon of corporate success. To delve deeper into this incredible story, we invite you to listen to our comprehensive report from March 1st, 2023. There we unfold the complete narrative, enriched with interviews with experts who offer deeper insights into this phenomenal ascent. Stay tuned for more insightful stories and join us again next week for another journey into the world of business and innovation. Stay curious.